Welcome back to the Third Wheel Podcast. I'm Caleb.
I'm Sheps.
And we got a special guest today. Say hello, everybody, to Madison.
Howdy, y'all. Good to see you.
Madison, have you podcasted before? Or
Last time I podcasted was a couple years ago. I was doing it for work in, I think, a storage room. And I just went to the boss and be like, hey, what if we podcasted? And he was like, that sounds amazing. I used to do it, and I don't want to do it. So now you can do it, Madison.
and that was a long time ago, I guess. So
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, no, we've been doing this for over a year now, and it's going really well, and two, it's still just a lot of fun. As much fun as it was when we started, I think. So
More
I don't know.
fun if we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Which we do a little more now.
That's good. I've heard a little bit about it from time to time, including Bree, who is now my girlfriend, who was previously on the podcast.
Yep.
She, the saucier, we'll call her, trying out the Whataburger monstrosities they created.
That's right, guys. He is now dating our first guest, actually. So I've known both of y'all for years beforehand. That's the weird thing to me. It was like I knew y'all before, and then one time I went to a game night, and y'all were at the same event. And I was like, oh, hey. And then y'all dated like a year or two later. So pretty cool, I think. I think life has a funny way of doing things, merging worlds. We talked about the worlds colliding last time Bree was on.
George Costanza.
The worlds collide.
Yeah, so we brought you on for a very specific topic this time, and it's broad. The topic's broad, but I think we're going to get into some niche areas about it. So you work in marketing, right?
Yes. So I studied marketing in college, went to UT Dallas. Whoosh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this isn't going to work. We need someone with real
Oh, no.
real education.
Well, my parents were Sooners from OU, so if I had gone to actual UT, they might have disowned me. UT Dallas seemed a good compromise, and they were very generous at the time, so that's what happened.
So they have a campus in like how many cities now? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, no, but every time I look, I'm sure there's more. Every
They
time
have
I
one
go,
in Dallas.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I didn't know there was one in Dallas. That's but I guess there's a college like right there, so I guess that makes sense that it's a UT. So I'm special. I tried to. None of them had the criminal justice degree I was going for. So like none of Austin, UT Arlington, UT Dallas.
Did you ever find your justice?
I did actually, but I can't talk about it yet. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tell me about studying there and how was that studying marketing? What drew you to it? What got you all excited?
So, first of all, one of the main things that got me excited about marketing is the fact that it combines so many of the different enthusiasms that I have for strategy, strategic business, and consumer psychology.
Yeah.
Really, marketing, while yes, it is a huge thing, if we were to be like, hey, here's a stupid, simple sentence about what marketing it is understanding your product / business, understanding the consumer, and trying to build a bridge between the two of them and get people to cross over.
To me, that sounds like everything, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say marketing is in everything, and if we were to go over that, we would be here all year.
Absolutely.
So, hence the
I'm all for it.
specialization.
We could break the whole year into hour-long segments. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, here's something that just came up yesterday, and I just now saw it, and I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. So, a lot of companies right now are taking pride or using it as marketing in a way by lowering their prices in a time where everything's at a skyrocket, everything's at an all-time high. So, like places like Walmart, Target, they're really promoting the fact that, hey, we're cutting our prices down. McDonald's caught a lot of flack for having $20 burgers for one person, right? One meal. And now they're advertising, hey, we actually lowered our prices in this time of inflation at the time of everything being such at an all-time high price-wise. Look how cool we are. How do you feel about that? It's cool that we're cutting our prices. Please come eat here.
Isn't that advertising saying that, hey, cutting prices is a new thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. And they're taking it so seriously, like, hey, we're the good guys here. We're the ones who drew prices up, right? But now we're trying to be cool by cutting them. That blows my mind. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think?
We here at the McDonald's family are here for you, and we care about you enough to drop our fries at 30 cents.
Dude, hash browns in places like California are legit $3.20. The hash brown, the little mini tiny things.
When people say something costs so and so dollars in California, I say, okay, but what's that in American money?
Right. So I don't know. What do you think about that, though, Shaps? Like being cool, slashing prices.
I think it's all artificial.
You're right.
I mean, that I think it's. I think people are very easily played at face value. They see cheaper prices. That just means, oh yeah, the economy must be getting better. It's like, no, like they still got a hold on everything. They could still control. What costs what, and like it makes no difference to them. I imagine to make something $5 one year and then make it $4 the next year. I don't believe they're really losing that much if the product is worth $2.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading all these articles and all these studies that companies are getting the message, right? And they're like, okay, people are actually either eating out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Some places, these mom and pop shops are cheaper than fast food, which is, I'm not gonna say never happened before, but I mean, not in our generation, my God. But that's the first thing. And two, they're choosing they're gonna go to the grocery store, tough it out, buying all the ingredients in bulk, and rather make it at home. They would rather make it at home than go out and pay the extra $10 to get it made for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now they're having to go in and slash prices. But when I saw that, then I started seeing articles about how people are trying to be now we're cool. Like we're Walmart, we're cutting our prices. Come over here. Aldi's is actually leading that right now with chopping their prices down. Like I'll buy an off-brand Coca-Cola, and some articles say it's better. Some places say their brand of Coca-Cola tastes better than the original, right? So. Yeah. But they're kind of leading the charge on like, hey, shop here because we're cheaper than everywhere else.
Well, you have to remember that it's not just, rising and falling prices that we're talking about. We also have to consider what are they competing with.
Right.
And like you said, if mom and pops is cheaper, sure, that's one thing. If you can get, doesn't even have to be cheaper. If it's just relatively close enough that the value they're providing is like, hey, it's close enough. I might as well go out and get something a little bit nicer. If it's close to what I'm paying for at the local, Arby's or whatever, then heck yes. Why wouldn't you go pay, $1 more and get something nicer? Yeah. But there's also people that, well, we see all the time if we're looking at your gamer YouTube channel,
right?
Is the meal prep companies. We've seen a rise of that as well. And we've also seen a rise in just accessibility for shopping. Like think of Walmart and the Walmart app and how easy it is to get all your grocery list together ahead of time in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Schedule your time to go pick it up, and then you're there in the parking lot waiting 5 minutes or less many a time. You don't even have to go into the store anymore. And that's the sort of thing, that convenience is something that people in the food industry are having to compete with as well. These falling prices, for some people, yes, they might see the occasional opportunity to jump in and get a quick profit surge, but a lot of it is just reactionary.
Yeah.
They see, oh, well, if we continue these rising prices that we've been comfortable with and know that we could get away with, we're going to lose market share, like serious market share, and not just in the now, but people are going to get comfortable with going back and buying groceries again. And they don't want that to be the new norm for consumers.
Because up until COVID, people would rather just go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, go somewhere real quick rather than go grocery shopping. And like you said, I didn't even think about curbside pickup. That's huge. That's a big one. Like, I really need to give that a try because I'd probably love it. But I'm still
amazing.
But I'm still one of the old fashioned. Like, let me go.
If it's Target, I'll go inside. If it's anywhere else, actually, I don't shop anywhere else. So.
Okay, you know what? You're derailing the conversation. Sponsored by Target. I mean, of course, if Target sponsored us, like controversies aside, I would definitely sell out and take it.
So isn't that like they're always Target and Walmart's like big push is that we have lower prices? I don't think that's a new thing that they're announcing. This has always been. I mean, pay less or expect more, pay less. Like that's their whole slogan.
To be honest, I've never thought of Target as a grocery store. Like they're the place that I went to buy really good men's clothing.
Yeah.
And the occasional
no kidding.
the occasional kids toy, because they seem to have Nerf guns at the wazoo and
Right.
Legos and whatnot, and maybe the occasional women's gift.
So yeah, that's the beautiful thing about Target is that it is exactly that. It's not really a grocery store. It's more of an experience. So
Target.
exactly. No, really think about this, Caleb. It is a culture phenomenon. Like you're talking about TikTok, Instagram, and people going to Target and making a big deal about it. They don't do that for Walmart. They do that for Target. You know, that is like a little bit more high end than Walmart. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of almost like the Chick-fil-A of retail. Like they always train their staff to be super smiley, super happy, and you know the customer's always right. Or there, they actually call you the guests instead.
You still work at Target, don't you?
Undercover Target agent.
Thanks for doxing me.
Oh, please. There's like a billion Targets.
So
You want a real Target on your face? Tell them
no,
your
no,
real
no, no.
name,
I mean,
chaps.
well, okay. You want to know the reason I worked there for 3 years? Because this very reason actually is because it actually was like the best place for me, because it was everything that, you know, it was a grocery store, but beyond that, you know, everyone loves going to Target, even if they're not going to get anything. And when they go to Target, they see things that they didn't think they wanted. Now, it's the whole part of marketing, right? Now, the interesting thing, you brought up men's clothing. They also have their own branding for like cologne, you know, and like bathroom products. Like it's all Goodfella, right? Love Goodfella. That's my favorite brand. But like they make shoes, you know, they make all kinds of clothing. Like they've got that market corner when it comes to like, okay, what do I want to go to great groceries? I can go to Walmart and pay maybe a little cheaper, which honestly they're kind of like the same price nowadays. Or I can go to Target and like have an experience. Like legitimately, that is their whole marketing scheme.
Yeah.
It's designed that way. So I wouldn't say, you know, it's like a bore or like a inconvenience to go to Target because they try and go out of their way as much as possible to make it like a convenience.
Yeah.
They even put Starbucks there. And all their most of their locations. So
You can't get Starbucks anywhere else, let me tell you.
But if you're going to go get groceries and there's a Starbucks right there, are you more willing to pay for Starbucks right there? Absolutely.
Oh heck yeah! I have bought Starbucks more inside of a Target
Yeah, me
than
too.
I have going to any actual Starbucks location in the last probably 5 years.
That is a psychological effect. I don't remember the last time I've gone through a Starbucks drive-through, but dang, every time I go to Target,
I'm much more of a Dutch Bros person myself.
what's a chai tea going to cost
To
me?
be
I don't
honest,
care.
Dutch Bros. The last time I went there, a person I was dating broke up with me, so I have a don't want to go to Dutch Bros little mindset in the back, but they seem perfectly nice.
I know what you mean. My first breakup ever, which destroyed me, one, and two, made me a whole nother person. I had to rebuild my personality from the ground up. Was at a Raising Cane's. And
no.
you know,
That is horrible.
it is.
At least it wasn't Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. And I don't hate Raising Cane's.
No, I'm sorry. There's like a billion Chick-fil-A's. There's only a handful of Canes, okay?
Yeah, but like imagine not being emotionally ready to go back to Chick-fil-A. Like that's one of my 4-ish restaurants on rotation that I go to on my lunch break.
What I'm saying is there's one on every corner. There's only like one Canes per city. That's not enough, man.
Yeah, you go to one in Fort Worth and you got to go to North Richland Hills. I hope they're in the area that I decided I'm hungry for it, you know. Have you had Slim Chicken?
I don't like some chickens.
I don't like it that much. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
Our buddy Giles
Yeah.
really loves Slim Chicken.
that's funny because Giles doesn't like anything.
For whatever reason, these chicken places, like, it's almost like a delicacy. Like, they charge oogles of money, you know, for like
Yeah.
virtually the same thing you can get somewhere else, like
Right.
Cane's or Chick-fil-A.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. Like, it's a little bit different. Don't get me wrong. It's a little bit different, but it still like doesn't be like, I don't know why I have to pay $10, $15 more, you know, for something like Slim Chickens.
Let me tell you who started the Slim Chicken, the Raising Cane sauce. Let me tell you who
No,
started those.
no, you're lying. I know what you're about to say. But to say freaking Brahms, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Because they have the sauce for their chicken strips.
Yeah.
But nobody knows about it. But they you know.
No, by the way,
everyone else copied them.
so you know what? Why I know this is because I went to Brahms right after you told me that for the first time, like 2 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, he's a genius. I'm going to go to Brahms and get the chicken sandwich. And everyone looks at me like I'm a weirdo.
Chicken sandwich?
Not the sandwich, the meal, the tender meal.
Okay,
whatever.
I'm about to say that's where you messed up. Sir.
Whatever. I got the tender meal and I was super excited and it almost looked like I got a cafeteria tray. And I was like, this is weird.
Oh,
and
no,
it
no,
tastes
no.
like it
back in
feels
high
like
school.
it feels like the tenders were definitely like the frozen. They were definitely the frozen
No, no,
kind.
no,
They
no.
were frozen, my
I
friend.
wasn't talking about the tenders.
And then I
being
tried
good.
the sauce. And I was like, okay, I don't care if Kane stole the sauce. They perfected the chicken. Why would I go and why would I just destroy my evening by going down to Brahms when I could just go to Cane's and be happy?
Brahms don't
this
have
to
them
me.
Texas toast.
Yeah, dude. They do, but it sucks.
They have toast in there.
No, it's like literally like Wonder Bread toast, dude. It's not Texas toast, man.
I didn't say the meal was better overall. I just said they took the.
Why
it was
take
the
a
original.
stand like that? Like
I just said it was the original sauce. I don't
Who
recall saying it was
cares?
the best thing ever.
McDonald's
Cane's-
isn't even the right McDonald's, but you see where that went.
Man.
All right, we're getting sidetracked here. Let's talk about marketing.
All right.
Yeah, stealing other people's stuff and making it better. That's a great marketing strategy.
Do you know any examples, Madison, of that happening at a company where a company stole a product and made the success off of it?
I'm gonna guess Apple.
Oh my gosh. You know, the thing I would have to say would be it would have to be like a Coca-Cola product or something like that, or some offshoot like Dr. Pepper that, you know, saw an opportunity and just went for it. For some reason, when I'm thinking like stealing stuff, I'm blanking, but also tech industry is like the #1 place to do it. You have people like BlackBerry who try to come in and steal the thunder or steal the lightning from Apple, and they do it unsuccessfully. But then you have Google who comes in, the raging behemoth, who comes in and starts applying that technology to themselves and be like, hey, but we're Google, so we can do stuff that Apple is too sluggish to pull off quickly.
Well, with that, even if you can't think of anything in particular, I got a couple actually, as you were mentioning that were swirling in my head. But I'm kind of curious, when you try to copy another product, how often are those successful, do you think? Where they took the product and made it better and it sold better? Or they tried to copy and it was a cheap imitation and it like flunked out? Can you think of anything? If not, I got some that just popped into my head.
You know, just from like personal feeling and personal experience, usually when you're the first in the game in product development, you have like a huge advantage.
Yes, very much so.
You have the technology ready to go. So once you get like that 1 to 2 years where like nobody's really competing against you, it is very hard to shut down a major success story like that. But then sometimes you have somebody who they're agile enough that they can do that development and have something out within that time period. And if they're like after that 2-year period, they can maybe start edging in, and when they have the marketing budget and the advertising like Google does, honestly, Apple and Google are in the forefront of my mind when it comes to that stuff.
You can go, but I can think of a really good one actually.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, different gear, I guess, but it's actually when Fortnite started. So, originally it was Player Battlegrounds,
PUBG.
PUBG.
I was about to say that.
It was like made by one dude, maybe a small team,
Right.
and it was like killing everything.
I played the heck
heck
out of it.
Everyone played it,
Mhm.
nonstop. Like it was not as big as Fortnite is now, but it was pretty big with all ages, like in all systems eventually. But the problem is he stopped innovating,
Yeah.
and then that essentially gave room for Epic Games, which was funded by a mega corporation, the ability to not make a game based around it, but make a side content based around it. Because originally the Fortnite game, like the original game was a PvE mode, not a PvP mode.
Yeah, it was a survival.
It was a survival
Yeah.
that went nowhere because PvP essentially was like the bonus content that they were like, oh, we're just put this mode in there, and that's what blew up, and that's what caused everyone else to realize how much money there was to be made in it. And Fortnite are really the only ones who came out like swinging strong still to this day, with Apex, I suppose, but still nowhere near Fortnite.
You're forgetting our friend Modern Warfare and Activision and
They saw well technically Warzone.
Warzone. That's what I meant. I don't actually play it myself, but
it still has just nothing on Fortnite. Like Fortnite literally like just this past year went what 4.0 or whatever it was, where they basically got a whole bunch of brand deals from like Disney and Lego. Like yeah, you can't stop that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
Activision
can't.
will always have money, but they're always going to have like that controversy attached to them,
Yeah.
and like an isolated, alienated market.
Yeah.
But follow what we were talking about earlier
Mhm.
about who's able to get in the market after somebody has already innovated.
Yeah,
And who is it in your example who is making just scratching it a little bit of that market share? It's the big wigs, it's the Activisions, it's your Apex Legends folks who can, actually have the budget to claw away some market share. Your newbies who are jumping in, your small companies who are trying to develop that new stuff, that's rarely picking off the ground, or that's rarely taking off. Yeah, it's really hard to get into that space, and even with the resources that those production companies have,
yeah.
they still only manage to barely get
Well,
a hold of that.
That was that was like kind of the secret sauce of Fortnite, is because it came in acting like it was a small corporation or just like basically the underdog.
Yeah.
In reality, it was being backed by Tencent, which is a Chinese mega corporation that owns basically almost every mobile phone app game you can think of.
Right.
So, but it played the part. It played the sheep, the wolf in sheep clothing of like, oh, we're the little guy. Especially when they tried suing Apple over the dispute. We already talked about that a little bit. The dispute essentially of like what transactions can happen on their app. And they had advertisements ready to go. They had commercials ready to go just for that big moment, acting like they were the guys being pushed around by the big corporations. When in reality, they actually have a mega corporation under them. So like, yeah, Activision definitely has the money, and I think EA sponsors Apex. However, those companies are just so heavily mismanaged that I don't believe they're going to get anywhere above where they are now, because they feed on other people's ideas. Well, Fortnite, for instance, like Epic Games, they're continuing to innovate. Like they are the first ones in forever to successfully challenge Valve and actually make somewhat of a foot in the race.
Yeah.
Not to the point where you're ever going to take down Valve and
Right.
Steam as a whole,
Right.
but you at least got people talking, and you got
Yeah.
people who are corporations and producers to go, we're going to put our games exclusively on Epic
Right.
Games. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
That's enormous.
They spent
So-
a lot of money trying to buy up games to make them a Epic Games Store exclusive,
Yeah.
right?
And they so it never really went anywhere, because then like companies like Ubisoft started to backtrack. They're like, oh, we'll release our game on Steam now. But there are still a few companies that will exclusively have like a 1-year contract with Epic Games. I'm like,
would say
none of that would have
EA's
happened without Fortnite. It's
Well,
crazy.
Another thing too is like everyone is trying to make their own game store too. So it's not even just like that. They're trying to
But they can't. They
Right.
cannot break Steam. They cannot afford the loss of the sales that Steam provides,
I
essentially.
mean, EA's still trying. Like I have to run all the Sims games through Steam. I'm not Steam. EA
Origin.
which
Yeah,
I
but
hate.
again, it's literally like
Yeah.
a drop in the bucket,
Right.
because that's not a profitable platform at all. You buy your games through Steam probably, and then you run them through Origin. More than likely, that's what I have to do at least.
Oh, geez, I didn't
And then
look at that.
Activision's the same way. They have their own launcher, but you usually have to buy the games either through the Blizzard launcher, or you buy it through Steam and then run it through
Right.
Activision. Epic Games ain't like that. They're completely exclusive. So it is like one of those. It's never going to get higher than like Valve, or it's never really going to overtake something like Activision, but they have that hold in the race. Essentially, they're only going higher,
Right.
especially with all these acquisitions they're carrying. I mean, they are like the HBO essentially of the video game world, because they have all these IPs that they can just pull from. Like
Yeah.
Activision is doing the same thing, but not as fast, I would say.
Yeah. So now the one that came into my mind was Marvel and DC, right?
Yeah.
So before the movies,
Goodness, yeah.
talking about comics here. So
Yep.
DC did it first, right? They're first in the game. There's Superman, there's Batman, there's Wonder Woman. Then there's like the villains. There's Lex Luthor, Darkseid, the Joker.
Marvel could never, at least in the 90s, could never get off the ground with their movies.
Right. Well, I'm talking comic books.
Oh, I
So
see.
so let's look at that. So first in the game, they did it first, and they're popular. Like the comics like really took off. Well, then the problem was, so Marvel comes out. It's a younger brand. They got their own superheroes. But what DC has a problem with is all their heroes are really powerful
Yeah.
for no reason. Like, and it's because like in the golden age of Superman, he could do whatever he wanted. Whatever power he wanted to do, he could think of it,
Yep.
and he did it, right? So same thing with Wonder Woman. Heck, in the original stuff, Batman shooting people, right? So they're struggling with making their heroes more human.
Yeah.
The more popular characters like Batman, or the more human ones like Batman, Green Arrow,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, right? But Marvel, They see DC and they're not learning. I wouldn't say learning from their mistakes, but they're learning on what stuff they can improve on.
Yeah.
So now you got Captain America. He's not Superman, but he's very
Mm-hmm.
relatable because he's not a godlike being. He is a man with super soldier serum. And then you get look at all the Avengers. Tony Stark. He's like a man, but he's in armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
with the superpower of alcoholism.
absolutely right. But all their characters are a lot more relatable, a lot more human. They can struggle more.
Yeah.
Whereas DC, with their movies, like now you translate that to movies, are having a hard time because not a lot of people, at least the narrative going around, is that not a lot of people can relate to Superman. I would disagree with that, but the general public thinks Superman's boring.
Yeah.
So that's why there's 50 billion Batman movies and like 4 Superman movies, right? And all these different reboots and stuff, is because they're taking these characters that in the comics are OP. And they don't know what to do with them. And it's worse in the comics, but it's especially true with the movies. But Marvel, they can take these comic books where you generally find better stories, you'll generally find better character development because their characters are a lot more human and a lot more relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So whereas DC, they're trying to lean into it, but they lean into gods among men or stuff like that. They have to. But originally, I'd say there's some benefits to being second in the race. Marvel is a new company. They're able to learn from the company that did it first and either make their version better, or they can like learn from the mistakes and stuff like that. So how do you feel about that?
I think DC's issue is it feels like they don't know what humans are like at times. Like, you take your Supermans and whatnot, and like, yes, I'm down to earth Iowa man, or Kansas or wherever he's from. I forget, don't care. But you take your average character from Marvel, and yeah, sure, maybe one's like a billionaire, but like, he struggles with issues that we can identify with. And you take your Spider-Man, and sure, yeah, you think web whipping, swinging and whatnot, but you also think Tobey Maguire sad cries in the corner while he worries about how to pay the rent.
Right.
And going from job to job,
Right.
trying to live in New York City.
When's the last time? And on paper, like they're very similar, right? Where like they got the same occupation, they both struggle with the same blah 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 blah. But when's the last time Superman had to worry about paying rent? You know what I mean? and all that. And the Superman
comic issue 192
Yeah,
in Detective
for real.
Comics.
Yeah, actually, that wouldn't surprise me if in the old black
No,
and white
100%.
stuff.
Yeah,
He
that's
probably
why you
had-
could never argue anything about superheroes because
Right.
they've already done it like a
Right.
billion times over.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
hard to.
That's why you get comic series like The Boys, where they're just like, I hate superheroes, so I'm just gonna make a comic where the heroes kill superheroes. You know, so but yeah. There are benefits to being second in the race. You brought up technology. It's hard for me to focus on technology because I'm not a tech guy, right? And it's not a tech channel. But like, Apple and Samsung, Android.
There's a lot of technology that Android developed first, but Apple made better. But they still took the initial ideas and technology from Android.
Yeah. So what about virtual reality? Like the Oculus is like not the first, definitely not the first. Let me.
Virtual Boy.
Yeah. Right. Right. There was a treadmill that was supposed to be a 360
Yeah, I
degree
know. The
treadmill. Do you
hamster
remember
wheel?
that? Was that what it was called? The hamster
I know it
wheel?
wasn't called the hamster wheel, but that's what everyone called it.
Yeah, and it was like it's supposed to be a 3D. I turn this way and I'm
Believe
running,
it or
and the
not,
treadmill is
even
doing
that wasn't the first iteration.
No, I
In
know
fact,
that.
virtual reality goes all
Right.
the way back to the 80s
No,
of
I
like
agree.
testing and everything.
I agree.
No, so the Oculus definitely I would say I was talking to my mom about this the other day. That is the first like affordable virtual headset. Like most affordable, because basically it's only like a few $100s. While back then when the Rift came out, it was like $800,
Yeah.
and only a few select people were able to play the VR games. But now that it's a little bit more affordable, that's why you're starting to see a few more VR games come out and trickle and dime.
Yeah.
Well, the Rift was like $800, and they brought it down to like the Quest, which was like a couple $100s, and now
It was like 450. I bought both generations, not the third one, but I got the first two. So the first one, wires out the wazoo.
No, that's the interesting thing. You can see like with every generation, they just improve.
Right.
It's more convenient.
They're making strides.
That's the problem. Everyone who wants to buy a virtual headset, they're like, well, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
It's such an awkward price tag, a high price tag. You're like, why would I want to? Essentially, it's a cool thing. I'll do it if it's at a main event or something.
Yeah.
But then when you're like, oh, there's no wires. It's all in the headset. You don't need a computer anymore to stream to.
That's right.
It's just right there in your
Isn't that
living
cool?
room, and you can draw a little space for yourself. Like that's
You
amazing.
can play Resident Evil 4 on it. My God,
Dude, yo, you're making me sweat.
Yeah, just give me a call when Sword Art Online can be an actual thing.
Wow. Okay.
That's my least favorite anime of all time.
That's a story for another day.
Sorry, I
what's
did that
that,
to you.
That's for part 2.
What's that Conan?
Okay.
That Conan scene, but that's a story for another time.
in the next movie?
Yeah.
But my point is like being able to lay down or recline and have a enjoyable VR experience, not have to like move around a lot like that. I don't want to get tired playing in a VR headset.
Actually, I think that's kind of the fun of it, like, is you're exercising while you're playing.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, but unless you're on the second story of an apartment and then everyone's like hitting their using the broom.
No, that's part of the experience.
That's part of the charm.
Look, dragons. No, so eventually and recently, everyone knows Apple's like, okay, we've had enough of this. We're gonna launch our nuke. Okay, this is gonna blow everyone out of the water. The Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, now if I'm correct, it costs about as much as a decent down payment on a car would cost.
A decent car. Yes.
I replaced my transmission recently for about the cost that I could buy the VR Pro.
This Vision Pro. Man,
Yeah.
let me
Now-
tell you some of the features it has.
Is this first generation?
First generation, technically, yes.
Okay, and it's like 3K, right? Now, probably not 3K at the time of recording, right? But
No, I think they're sticking with it.
oof.
Yeah.
But
Why?
Caleb, you can see their eyes whenever
whose
you
And
eyes?
also, I believe you can. I
Mine?
believe you can pay more to get more storage, like they always do with these headsets.
Yeah.
But what wonderful features they have! Oh, you
Yes.
can open up your Mac desktop, virtual AR, not a virtual space, AR space, augmented reality, so you can see it in your own living room. And you can do anything that you can do on a laptop.
See, the reason I don't care for that feature, the reason I put on the headset is so I don't have to see my room anymore. Okay, I don't like how my room looks.
Well, also, like, could they have picked a goofier design? Everyone's talking. I'm not going to harp on it too much. Everyone's talking about how goofy the design looks, and no one wants to be around anyone wearing those things.
Hold on, let me see this here. I actually haven't
I'll
gotten
put
a good
up a
look at it.
picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Apple Vision Pro. Hold on.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see, you know how people work in virtual offices now?
Yeah.
I have
guess, yeah.
my friend Elena was talking about the other day. How you
I'm
can-
sorry. Hold on a second.
Okay, do it.
These are hideous. That's
Yeah.
creepy.
Oh my gosh, it's the eyes.
Oh, it's got that.
I don't want to see them.
Also, when you FaceTime people, it doesn't show your face. It shows a virtual recreation of your face. Like it just like hits the uncanny valley feeling. No one freaking likes this thing. Now, the hardware is incredible, obviously, because it's Apple, but it's also $3,000. However, what are you going to do with it? There's just no features on this thing yet. And I get it. It's first generation. They're going to come out with more. It's going to get a little bit cheaper, but like these guys are like 15 years behind.
Yeah.
Like they could have come out and crushed everyone.
Yeah.
But instead, they're making all the same mistakes that previous companies made. Google Glasses tried the exact same thing. What, 12 years ago now?
Yeah.
Less than that? The exact same thing. And they look like glasses, not freaking giant headsets, like helmets, basically.
They should have leaned into it looking like what Iron Man would wear.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Now, Google
Yeah.
Glasses didn't work. The technology wasn't there. However, they at least had the idea, oh my gosh, no one wants to wear those disgusting things,
Yeah.
in everyday life. They want it to be seamless. Now, oh yeah, this makes sense. Instead of just going for a walk and having my phone, I'm going to get this giant headset, put it on me where everyone can see, and everyone's going to be making fun of me and taking videos and photos of me. I'm going to start jogging with the, and then, I need to make a call. Okay, I'm gonna make a call, and it projects an animated like avatar to whoever you're calling. They're just gonna freak them out, They're gonna think that you're taken over by an AI or something. Like, it is just again so inconvenient. I do not understand.
So finish your story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I was just thinking, I feel like that headset, they're leaning into the wrong user group. Like they're
demographic?
probably looking at gamers and stuff like that. When if you're making something that expensive and you have the gall to ask for that price tag,
Yeah.
like I would say take it to the commercial sector, introduce it as like a virtual office, like for you can go in, you have a virtual desk, you
Yeah.
have all of your files here that are actually stored inside of your VR headsets in a relatively secure server, and make it so that if you're working from home, you can still have a shared office experience, quote
Sure.
unquote.
That's actually exactly what it does.
Okay.
For the most part.
And I
Well,
like
okay.
that. But here's the thing: it's cheaper to spend the $3,000 on renovating a spare room into an office. You know what I mean?
Or
Like-
you can spend $1,700 on like an M2 chip MacBook Pro, which is just way more convenient.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, like no one wants to pull this thing out of storage, just collecting dust it off, put it on, turn it on. Oh crap, it didn't charge. Got to charge it up now. Like it's just one more thing you have
Yeah.
to worry about. It's completely countercultural to what Apple usually does. It doesn't appeal to the gamers at all. It doesn't actually tap into that because it doesn't hook up with Steam very well. I don't even think it has like Steam VR support yet. It's just like it's exactly what Zuckerberg tried to do with the metaverse, where he tried to make everything in the real world accessible in the virtual space. Because originally the metaverse was supposed to be just for corporations. It wasn't supposed to be for the public. It was just supposed to be virtual spaces like you're talking about for people who have to be at home.
Yeah.
Then he was like, well, we can just sell this. And it didn't work out well because no one really wanted it, because no one wants to do the things they do in real life in the virtual space. It's too inconvenient.
Yeah.
I just do not see a place in the world where this works because they've been trying it for decades. More than 30 years they've been trying to get this right, and it hasn't worked.
Right.
And Apple comes in, and they're the ones who are supposed to lead the charge in the next generation of AR, VR, XR, whatever, and they completely dropped on their face. Everyone's making fun of them. Now, maybe the second gen will be better, but like this
Right.
is just pathetic.
I'm sure it will
Completely
be better.
In my mind, I'm just wondering, I'm going down and hitting each price point below it and trying to think, okay,
How much would you pay for it?
what is the magic price point
Yeah.
where you hit that and suddenly somebody in the C-suite at insert banking company is like, I pay a lot of money for renting these office spaces.
Yeah.
I could save X millions of dollars every year and let my people work from home and still, if there is a monitoring function of
Yeah.
it, and still keep a relatively good eye on people working. That's the that's the alternate future that I am very curious.
You're
to
talking about
see.
these companies being able to, because this is what's going to happen. They're going to be able to see through your goggles. No one's going to want that.
Well,
That is an invasion of privacy. No employee would ever sign off on that.
well, they don't need to see what is in your place. They just need to see what you're working on.
How would that work?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, like, interesting idea, but corporations, I mean, most companies right now, correct me if I'm wrong, are trying to get away from people working from home or working from these different spaces. Are you talking about
Right now,
if they go
yeah.
to the office, that's what is to expect? No desk or anything, just a chair.
No,
and
because
then these
at that
goggles?
point, you're not getting as much of a benefit from people. People right now want to work from home.
Right.
And
I would love it. I would love my job to be at home.
and people who are making the decisions, the managers, the bigwigs who are like, hey, we probably want people working in the office because efficiencies and whatnot and accountability for our office workforce, it makes sense. But if you can keep that system of accountability and you can ensure at least a comparable level of efficiency in your workplace functions, there is a price point somewhere, if they could make that happen, that people would say, okay, screw the office building. I don't care if people work from home. Heck, they can work out of Starbucks or behind the garbage bin.
To
As long as
offset-
they're doing their
So
would
basically, you're saying to
love-
offset the cost of an office space, it'd be possibly more profitable, or at least cut cost, to buy this make a one-time purchase for these item, and then send people home. Immediately, I think I see where the value can be. However, one issue I think would transpire is IT support. They would need to necessarily tap into your IP, like your local IP, right?
Yeah.
In order to support it. I just don't think people want that. Like, I don't know how the workforce worked during COVID, if that was already possible. Because what they would do, they would give you work computers. Maybe
Right.
there was a way to get around
And
that.
everyone's hopping on Teams or Zoom or
But
something.
like, man, it just sounds like it would be too complex. Like, it would cut costs definitely for the most part, at least at face value. But it just seems kind of a complex idea.
Yeah, it's complex,
Mhm.
but you will be amazed at what people will sign off on
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
saves them 1
That's
or 2
true.
million
That's
every
true.
year.
And I agree with you. I just don't think they'll ever come to that conclusion. I don't think they'll. And here's my thing. I don't think did Apple make the same exact mistakes with their VR headset that everyone else did before them? Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would be clowned on as hard if it was simply $1,000
Or no, dude. Like
or
$400 to
$500.
$600.
And
range.
that's what the price should be.
Yeah.
But it's
People would be-
Apple, and
people
they
would be
go
begging
ridiculous.
for it.
Yeah, the new iPhones are legit $1,000.
Yeah.
So if they kept it the same price as a new iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's already accustomed to really ripping their wallet apart buying an Apple product. So
Yeah.
nobody would have batted an eye. But the
Right.
fact that they're paying $3K, and the few people that are paying it $3K, most people aren't buying it. But the people that are, the very few, they're returning it. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I just wasted $3,000 on something I'll never use.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And here's the thing: I love my Quest 2. I really
too.
do. I have not touched it in about a year
Mhm.
because here's the thing: VR, it really loses its glamour in like usually 2 to 3 months after you start picking up.
I
You're like,
agree with you.
or not even less than that, but like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so into this. This is the coolest thing ever. I can get lost in this world.
Yeah.
And then just either the inconvenience of keeping it all maintained or just the idea of like, I'm tired. I don't want to have to move around a whole lot. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to have to keep getting this
I
out.
agree with you.
Like I
yeah.
just want to do everything on my computer instead.
Ultimately, I think it comes down to what available offerings they have on the system. Like at the end of the day, I want to go home and sit on my couch and pull up my PS5 and play games for a little bit. And I know for a fact that there will be new titles available
Yeah.
on a regular basis. You don't have that
No.
guarantee with VR. There's not enough content to go around.
Mm.
If it was cheaper, if it was, a lot cheaper than a PS5, I might buy it for a laugh for a little while. But, I want something that, and they say that games aren't important anymore for consoles.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes.
What else is a console for?
Yeah.
Well, they actually made a deal with Hideo Kojima
Who
to
did?
to develop Apple did
Oh.
with Hideo Kojima essentially to develop exclusive, I don't know about hardware or software or content at least for the Apple Vision Pro.
Mhm.
I don't know what that's going to look like, but they can't do Silent Hill, unfortunately.
I know. I might actually pick up. This is totally unrelated.
Yeah.
I might pick up Death Stranding here pretty soon. I've never played it. I know it's Walking Simulator, the game.
Dude, I'm
I
actually
tried.
all over it.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
It is for such a small, minority of players, but I actually really like it.
yeah.
I
think
wanted
I
to
will.
like it.
Mhm.
I gave it at least 2 hours, I would say, and like the just walking back and forth. It may just be I don't have the patience for it,
Yeah.
but like it wasn't fun, and I
That's the whole
understand.
unfortunately, that's the point.
I understand that there's like games as an art. Like I've played games, they're like, wow, that's
Yeah.
just beautiful. They're doing cool, groundbreaking new stuff, but it was also fun.
So
and-
Kojima is like one of those really weird madmen who has all the money in the world to do whatever they want. This guy legitimately wanted to create a game. I forgot for what system. A game where if you die, it breaks your disc so you can't play it again. That's how freaking crazy he is.
I guess I'm playing on very easy mode.
No difficulty.
I'm not playing on Give Me God of War mode on that.
Uh-huh.
So I understand Madison's point of view here, like, but there are games that just aren't for everybody. I understand
Sure.
Death Stranding's very niche. As long as I can comprehend what the story is the story at least comprehensible? That's the only parts I don't
Not
care
without an
for.
explanation video.
Okay, all right, well that's fine then.
That is
How long
the-
are those? Are those like at least 20 minutes?
At least an hour.
Oh.
I think it would help you if you thought of it less as a game
Right.
and more like a slightly interactive movie.
Yeah,
Sure.
because that's exactly what he wants. He literally said after Death Stranding came out that he wants to get into movies. So that's his niche. That is his what he wants to do. So yeah, very much so, like an interactive movie. Which, if you look at it that way, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure.
I mean, if you just want to work with Mads Mikkelsen, sure, go
Or
for
Norman,
it. Or Norman
Reedus.
Reedus. Yeah. You know, my dude, go make a movie.
Guillermo Toro,
Yeah.
all of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, very interesting corner of the industry.
Yeah.
So okay, another point I wanted to make is that, again, a point to make that Apple is going backwards. They have tried, or every tech company has tried and tried and tried to get things to be more convenient and smaller and more powerful.
Right.
My iPhone right now is very powerful, very small, very convenient. That is the idea, right? To get things smaller, more convenient, more compact, more easy to take with you. Vision Pros.
So it's only a
Not-
matter of time before Apple releases a phone that's like this.
Yeah, honestly.
It's this
Well, they
small.
had the Nano. They
but
had the
flatter.
iPod Nano was one of the first things they ever made, actually.
I'm
I
sorry,
had the
the
iPod Shuffle. It was just basically a thumb drive.
There was because there was no display, right?
You're right.
Yeah, it was just, but the Nano was about this big,
Yeah.
and it had all my songs on it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Uh-huh.
I would still buy one, honestly, today's day, because I just love the way the Nano looked. But now we're going back to the clunky, and actually, I think Mudahar or someone made a video where it's like very inconvenient because like they want you to take it on an airplane. Like, oh, just take it on an airplane. It's like,
No.
well, in order for it to work, you have to have your laptop out, which is fully charged.
Yeah.
Then you have to have your Vision Pro out, which is fully charged. And then everyone just has to like deal with you, essentially going like,
Yeah.
the whole time. Like,
oh
I can
god.
see you're feeling at somebody's face.
can I
while
have
you're-
can
It's
I have
so
some water,
real.
please?
Yeah. Get you some virtual peanuts.
No, just so bad.
I,
dude.
I know. I don't get those people. I don't understand the metaverse in general. Not because not that
That's
I
different,
don't.
but yes.
Not that I don't get it.
Mhm.
I get the concept of it. I just don't get people that are like, this is going to be the next big
Well,
thing.
are you talking about the metaverse, like
This is it.
Facebook's metaverse?
Facebook's metaverse, or what the Apple thing's trying to do, where it's
That's
like
so-
they want to turn your life into virtual reality.
Metaverse is VR completely.
Yeah.
Vision Pro is AR, which is augmented reality, which means that basically you're looking into reality that's enhanced,
Mm-hmm.
Adds a
quote
layer on.
unquote enhanced.
That's the dumbest thing I've
Essentially.
ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just what it is.
Now, if they make now if Apple releases an Iron Man suit, I will
Mhm.
definitely be the first customer.
No, that's gonna be a Tesla product, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, thank
I
you.
will
Actually, do you
put our
know
house on mortgage.
one of the earliest iterations I've ever seen of AR technology was the Nintendo 3DS,
Mhm.
because they had those little AR cards that they gave you, and I thought that was gonna be the future, but never went anywhere because they had the 3D feature as well.
Yeah, you could
So you can-
slide it on and off.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is really cool, but never
Yeah.
went anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it could actually still be a cool thing, but no one really did anything with it. Like,
People think too small. They think this is worthless, and we're not going to
well,
continue to
people,
innovate it.
the movie industry was scared of. I think that had something to do with it. It was scared off from the 3D field because of how expensive it was.
Right.
And actually, 3D TVs, remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Those
sister
are-
had
oh,
one.
So you want to talk about failed marketing?
I would say, how did that go?
Well, it failed because no one, not the majority of people who had a 3D TV couldn't have the bandwidth enough to support essentially the intake, and basically these networks couldn't afford to send things over 3D because like it costs money to upgrade everything to 4K or to 8K or
Right.
everything, and then it requires a good amount of bandwidth to send it and
Yeah.
a good amount of bandwidth to take it. And 3D was just way too much bandwidth. It was way too expensive because you had to have specific 3D gear. Because it's not like you have a 4K, like sync generator. No, you have to have a 3D sync generator, which is different from your 4K sync generator, which means essentially you have to have enough gear to support HD, 4K, and 3D, and have a bandwidth to support all of it at once to send it out. Not going to happen. That's why
No.
it failed.
No.
So the few people who got the 3D TVs.
You also need to consider the average Mr. Joe and Jill who are considering what's their next TV that they want to buy.
right.
And they see a 3D TV at, Best Buy and like, oh, that
Yep.
looks cool. I mean, it's kind of cool. Oh, it's really expensive. We'll just pass this time. Maybe
Right.
wait for it
Yeah.
to get better.
It's an easy way to explain it is when 4K came out and like nothing supported it. So like your DVDs weren't supported because you had to get 4K DVDs, you have to have a 4K DVD player, you have to have a 4K TV, everything. Essentially like a giant chain. Same thing with 3D. Like you couldn't just pop anything on 3D and just magically be 3D. It doesn't work like that.
No.
But Nintendo figured out a way. in a small case, and no one ever did anything with it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just like so
Right.
upset. I'm like,
Tony
You could have
Stark
done
was able to
something.
build this in a cave
with scraps.
with a bunch of scrap.
Oh gosh, you know, I just rewatched Spider-Man 2. I didn't realize that villain was they pulled that random scientist dude and make him one of like the
Wasn't that cool?
I thought that was kind of cute.
Isn't that awesome? It's the same guy.
That's really funny.
They had to cut back to that scene from Iron Man
I know,
1 because
it's
everyone
like-
forgot who he was.
Was that a meme before or after? I wonder. Oh well.
You know, we're almost out of time, but Shaps, did you see that they are putting the Lord of the Rings trilogy back in theaters?
Oh, interesting.
Extended.
I didn't actually see that.
So
No.
we should go since you haven't seen
I've
it.
never seen them yet.
You need to see them in theaters. And I think this is in June.
Are they doing an
My
IMAX
favorite
as well?
series
On
of
what?
all time.
IMAX? I imagine
I don't
so.
know.
They had to, right?
I've actually never seen it on IMAX. That'd be fun. I would like to do IMAX. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big theater too, so you don't have to worry about it selling out.
I know The Hobbit was filmed in IMAX, but
Yeah, The Hobbit also tried to do. Talking about gimmicks here. What is it? Was it 60 frames per second that everyone was?
Oh,
You remember
yeah.
that?
They did the same thing for the new Avatar movie.
saw the movie and didn't see anything that made me go, "Ooh, pretty colors."
I don't think it was 60, but it was definitely a higher.
It was like 120. It was something. It was
Well,
double.
120 is too much,
It was
but
double the normal.
It was about 6. It was probably 59.9, but
on a
essentially
second.
it was enough to look like a video game, like a modern day video game.
Oh yeah.
And that's what threw a lot. It kind of threw a lot of people off. You get used to it after a while, but with the movie theater that me and Caleb went to see, or was it with me and someone else? We went to go see Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and they had the higher frame rate, but for whatever reason, the projector or whatever it was, I guess the projector couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
So there was actually a lot of stuttering. So in certain scenes, it would stutter almost like a video game.
Yep.
Where like you get to a high intense graphical cutscene, and it would slow down everything, and you would feel like whiplash, like legitimately. So yeah, are they going to do that same? Are they going to basically remaster the Lord of the Rings
I
movies?
doubt it, and I don't want them to.
Yeah.
Like Blu-ray quality at the most.
Well, if you ever
Yeah.
look up those YouTube videos of like a famous scene from a movie, but in 60 frames,
Yeah.
it always looks weird because it wasn't meant to be that way. And actually, the reason why movies aren't in 60 frames to begin with, because that's quote unquote better, is because it actually makes you feel. It's typically the word is cinematic.
Yeah.
It makes it feel more dreamy, essentially more like out of reality.
Is
Yeah.
that why like the movement of the elves always looked so weird? Like they would
Mhm.
be jumping from tree to tree and sliding around, and there's like, wow, why does that look so weird?
I haven't seen The Hobbit, but yeah, if that's the
Right.
movie you're thinking of, then yeah, because
It was. I'm sorry. It was 48 frames per second.
yeah,
when
I
that
didn't
thing
think it
came
was
out.
60
No.
because that should tell you only a little bit higher
Yeah.
is just enough to like throw your brain for a loop. Imagine if
Yeah.
it was 60 frames.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So 48, but that was a gimmick that didn't last very long.
It was weird because like it all was so heavily CGI'd, so it literally looked
Yeah.
like a video game.
yeah.
But like you just can't do that in regular movies now.
Yeah. You took
the standards there.
you took the White Wizard Saruman. He hasn't seen them, so don't launch any spoilers. But they de-aged Christopher Lee,
Yeah.
right? And it looked
Oh,
not great.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it
Goodness.
didn't look amazing.
So unlike
Um,
Harry Potter, I actually know a lot of the weird spoilers of Lord of the Rings, but no context for anything.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Harry Potter, I still not spoil with a lot of
Yeah.
things. But
I tell you what though, you do a Lord of the Rings extended edition marathon, and you will 14 hours later, in betwixt like Hobbit meals and whatnot for a birthday party.
Unpopular opinion. I think you should start with the theatrical.
Oh, I
for,
agree.
for first time viewers.
I agree.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've only watched the extended editions twice.
Okay,
And so,
I watch
like,
them once a year.
So I haven't seen them enough to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I need this scene. I grew up on Fellowship of the Ring,
Yep.
in a DVD player, sometimes watching it like twice in a row,
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
to back, and like I didn't really care about extended stuff. I also saw the movies before reading the books,
Yeah.
and so I, didn't have the typical "and the book is better." Oh my gosh, the literary references. Ugh.
Okay, we were talking about the movie is coming back into theaters.
and the gimmicks that James
and the
Cameron
gimmicks that were
had.
coming with it. Not James
Yeah.
Cameron, sir. It was Peter Jackson who did Hobbit. He started the 48 frames per second.
I thought it was
Correct.
James Cameron. My bad.
No, Peter Jackson, my God.
Oof.
Dude, if James Cameron did Lord of the Rings, they would have sucked. Okay,
Really?
let me tell you, because avatars are bad. Titanic is overrated.
It looked
I'm-
pretty though.
Sure, but so does so does a succubus.
Ti-
It probably would have been.
Titanic.
It probably would have been shot underwater too.
Yeah, for real.
Titanic being overrated. Wow. No, that's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Very brave of you to say that.
Take the most generic love story you've ever seen in your entire life. But then the
Put it
visuals
on a boat.
and put it on a boat that's about to sink. Okay, the visuals again. He's great at visuals. I
Yeah.
talked about this in Avatar. I did not have a problem with the visuals in Avatar. The Titanic sinking. He recreated the Titanic and then he sunk the dang thing. Okay, that looked great. But you got to sit through 2.5 hours of, oh God, Jack, I love you these past 20 minutes. We're gonna conquer the world together.
But he also made a big indent in the industry. He showed every 13-year-old boy what a woman looks like.
Aw.
That was PG-13.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Paint
didn't
me
know.
like one of your French girls, Jack.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so YouTube for a while, if you could put shots of your genitals on YouTube, and as long as you highlighted the part that said educational, YouTube lets you do it.
Twitch still does that, I think. But I
Yep.
don't think YouTube does that anymore.
But YouTube
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
make
yeah.
some corrections. So I guess that's how James Cameron got
yeah,
away with
he's
it.
the one he started.
Yeah.
Educational.
Yeah, he was like, this is for educational reasons.
French art.
If we're talking about James Cameron story offenses,
You
I
got 2
think
minutes.
Avatar is worse because it's basically just army bad, Indians good.
It's Pocahontas remake.
Yeah, pretty much, but blue.
He did paint with all the colors of the wind, though. My goodness.
Oh, but he did.
Man.
We got 2 minutes left. We can go ahead and get any final thoughts on
Okay.
what we talked about today.
Final thoughts. Just give all the corporations the money because it's theirs anyway. You know, you love going to the trough, you know, with all your fellow pigs and sheep, and you scarf it all down. Who cares?
I will pay $3,000 for my pig slop. All right, I will buy the Apple Vision Pro. Next episode will be an Apple Vision Pro supportable.
Oh wow.
Get to work on that,
Yep.
Shaps.
Yeah. I don't. Okay.
Just need to go and make a very large purchase.
Just do. Okay. Can I put in the professional expense? The
Yes,
podcast expense.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Maddie, yes or no? Have you bought anything VR related?
No, I have borrowed. Well, I guess while I was at his place, I did get to use a headset for a little while, and I thought, okay, I get it. If there were more games like this,
Yeah.
sure.
There's not enough games. That's the biggest thing. If you're trying to appeal to gamers, which is what Oculus needs to focus on, they need to quit with the metaverse. They're losing billions of dollars every month, literally. But if they focus on the games, I think they'd have a lot better of a time.
Oh, but Half-Life Dogs exists. Yeah, the only
good game,
the only
right?
diamond in the rough.
And that's not the only good game. There's some really good
no,
ones.
but like the level of quality,
right.
that
The love.
Alex had. I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow.
Absolutely.
All right.
So companies will not learn from each other. They refuse. That everyone is headed by a guy who thinks he's doing this for the first time, and and literally there's 50 other products that have failed, and they're leading the charge. They're standing on the boat like George Washington in all the paintings, and they think they're the first ones innovating with this.
Most of those decisions are just, poor attribution.
Yeah.
They think, oh, if I make the system, then people want to buy it, and then we can make games.
Right.
People want the games, and if you put that on a system, then people will buy it.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. They need to focus on that. I think Nintendo, another discussion for another time, I think they have the same issue. They keep trying to focus on hardware when they should be focusing on games.
Ding, ding, ding.
Anyway.
Oh, that's the food truck.
Yeah. All right. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Maddie, thanks for hopping on today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And Shaps, I hope you had fun today. This
I
hour,
had so much fun.
this hour flew by.
I love talking about
Yeah.
money
Thanks for joining us, guys. Next time, I promise we will talk about marketing.
and coins
But we got sidetracked. So,
and graphs.
but it was a good sidetrack.
Yeah, we talked about it for like a whole 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was great. So, all right, love you guys. See y'all next time. See ya.
Bye.
It'll be in my trailer.